Guys, welcome to Kiwitea Street for what's going to be a rather emotional day, not only for yourselves but everybody connected with Auckland City. First of all, Keryn, how does it feel to be saying goodbye to Kiwitea?
Well, mate, it's a beautiful field. It's the first time I've been down here, and it looks really good. I wish I could have played you for a few more games.
Yeah.
No, mate, I was saying to Andrew Marinovic just before that it's extremely sad, mate. It's not a good feeling, and he sort of said that I'll be sorely missed. And mate, to be honest, I will miss this place more than people will miss me, I think.
I spoke with Ben Sigmund from Sydney, Australia yesterday, and he said the one thing about your time at Auckland City that he noticed was that you absolutely loved the club. There was no pretense about it.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, what's not to love? When I came across from the other Auckland team, I actually, during the season that I was playing against Auckland City, I could just immediately see and get that feeling of, that sense of camaraderie within the whole club. Everybody got along with everybody. When you go upstairs afterwards for a beer or for something to eat, everyone greets you and everyone knows each other, and it's just unbelievable. So to be able to play here was an ultimate privilege, and it'll be very, very hard for any club in this country or in any other country, I think, to actually match what Auckland City can offer any of their players.
Liam, can you describe for us how it's been watching your father score just so many goals for Auckland City on this very ground?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I was older when I was watching, just so I could watch some of the little stuff he does do on the field, and then I can take some advice from what he does on the field. But every time he scored a goal, later in the season, people would come to me, "Hey, your dad just scored," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I know, he does it every week," And just to have that feeling, everyone coming up to me and just saying your dad scored, was just an awesome feeling as well. And it was just really, really nice to see that Dad was on form and stuff like that too. So yeah.
Yeah, and the nice thing for me as well is that Liam's grown up with the culture of the Auckland City club, and I think that's actually had a bit of an impact on him growing up and wanting to obviously aspire to play for Auckland City one day, probably be at a really young age, because I think he's got bigger things planned for himself anyway. But just for him to be able to come down here on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon and watch us play, and also go and play with his mates and have a game afterwards and things like that on the pitch, on the hallowed ground, I think was very special for him as a youngster too.
Yeah.
Liam, talk to us a little bit about playing on Kiwitea Street, because there's some YouTube footage of you scoring a quite wonderful Jordan-esque free kick down at that end. Talk us through it.
Before that game, actually, I can remember thinking to myself, wow, we were in the home change room, and this is where all those players that played with Dad were sitting before the game. I just wanted to just take a moment to myself before that game. I just said, what a chance I have here. So, walking onto the pitch as well, beautiful pitch, one of the best pitches in Auckland, I reckon. So, yeah, and to score the winning goal, the only goal in that game, was just a privilege, And it was just funny that I scored it as well, because Dad scored a lot of goals in that net too. So, yeah, it was a coincidence, I reckon too.
Keryn, Liam's talked about some of the great players that have played here, and a lot of them have turned out for you here today, the likes of Greg Ullman and Grant Young. Neil Sykes has also made an appearance. How much do these guys mean to you?
Mate, to be honest, I could never have done what I did without those guys. I owe I'd say 90% of the goals that I scored to the players that I had with me. Not just for their assists and things like that, but just for the way that they were, the attitude that they showed towards each other, and just the post-match camaraderie, the pre-match motivation. So everyone played a huge part in everyone else's success, and that's what I'd like to do, mate. Everyone's making this big thing about Keryn Jordan being the goal scorer, but the goals need to come from somewhere. So and as I say, it was an all-round effort from everybody here. So I was just lucky enough to be able to have that sort of service and people behind me.
Talk to us a little bit about some of your best memories here, like what games stand out, what particular goals stand out in team performances, personalities.
Well, during that first year, my first year here, I remember that Bannerwood 2 were extremely strong, and we played them here. I think halfway through the season, and they were I think they were lying second at that point. So for us to go ahead, and I think we beat them 3-1 or 4-1 or somewhere in that region, but that was a really special game for me because they were a strong team, and I don't know what it is, but there's always something that clicks inside here that says to me, you're not going to lose this game. You're not going to lose. It's not that you can't lose this game, it's you're not going to lose this game. And that was one of them. The other one was when I played against Siggy. He was probably the best defender in the league all the way through. I don't think there's been a defender who has quite done what Siggy's done. I mean, you had the likes of Danny Hay and even Darren Baisley and those sorts of players who are seasoned professionals. But Siggy was he always had that hunger in him, and he always had that that desire to not let anyone past him, and he would win a lot of balls, and to be able to beat them in the final against Canterbury was a special moment as well. So and I suppose, mate, the old cliche, but every single time walking out on this pitch was a special occasion for me.
Liam, what are your favourite memories of Dad? Anything specific stand out?
Definitely that Tahitian game that he scored the hat-trick in to get them to Oceania. That was a very, very special moment for me as well, because just to score one is really good, but to score a hat-trick in a final, that's impressive as well, and the quality of the goals as well. But no, I think every time we played at home, I would come and watch those games, and just to see Dad on the field and for Dad to score goals and to keep playing with the beautiful team, beautiful pitch was just a special moment for me anyway. Even at that young age, I thought that. So yeah.
Let's now turn to what's next for Keryn Jordan. Obviously, you've taken the decision to return to your homeland of South Africa. Liam will be staying in New Zealand. How difficult a decision was that to make, and what level of acceptance have you got with the decision?
Mate, it was an extremely hard decision to initially, when everything was up in the air, and we all went back home and decided that we wanted to go back and live in South Africa because it's in your blood, it's in your heart. So at that point we had all sort of decided to do it, but to some degree it didn't feel right, and to some degree it did, but everything was a bit unsettled. But once I'd got an email from Mia saying that Liam's got a big year planned for himself this year in terms of overseas trips and tournaments and games. And once I had sorted myself out there with regards to my future, I think everything just sort of slotted into place and just felt a lot more comfortable. I know that in New Zealand, Liam is going to be extremely well looked after by his mum and by a huge support base that he has around him. So that makes me feel really comfortable about my decision. Obviously, I'll miss him like you can't believe, but that's life sometimes. You've got to make these sacrifices, sacrifice the good to get the better. And when he gets back at the end of the year, it'll be interesting to see how he's developed as well there throughout this year. And I think that'll be a big next step for him to take, being in a professional academy environment over there, obviously to professional league. So to see him then taking that next step, and I think that's going to be perfect timing in terms of the next level for him.
Liam, sounds like Dad's got a plan mapped out for you as well. But one thing I noticed about you both is that, as well as the father-son relationship, you guys appear to be great mates. What's it going to be like for you when Dad gets on the plane and heads home and you get on with the reality of pursuing your own football dream?
Yeah, I mean, I've been having some nights, before going to bed, thinking of what I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to be thinking. And I mean, I guess I'll just have to take that when the moment comes, And I think that, I talked to Dad before about this. I say, what if it distracts me from school? What if, if I'm training and that it distracts me? He says, don't worry about that, just remember that I'll be fine and that everything happens for a reason, just be positive about every day and just be grateful for every day. So, I mean, it'll be a very, very sad time to see Dad enter that, terminal and get onto the plane, but also with happy thoughts that, there's a massive year coming up, and just stay focused and stay concentrated, at the job at hand. So, yeah.
Okay, finally, as we have a look at Auckland City get ready for a shooting drill, which means that not too far away from kick-off here.
Oh yeah.
What parting message have you got? What message have you got for not only Auckland City, but people in Oceania, New Zealand football, as you prepare to say farewell?
Mate, what I'd like to say is that I came to New Zealand 9 years ago, and although I was 28, I was still just a boy, mate. I was still a bit wet behind the ears, and I think I've learned so much through mistakes, through through highs and lows. I've learned so much, obviously through the medical condition, whatever. I've learned resilience, I've learned positivity, I've learned so many lessons, and I just think my message to everyone would be, never believe that it's over. Always see the positive things in what you're doing, and nothing is ever that bad. Nothing is ever that bad. Always remember that there's, no matter how bad things are for you, there's always somebody else who's worse off. And what people need to do is they need to think about those people and offer a hand to those. And for me, it's been a really, really special time. I've met so many good people here. I've been running around for the last week and a half just saying goodbye to people, and I've probably missed out like 50% of them. But I'd just like to say to everyone, thank you very, very much for having us here, for having me here. I'm glad I could have contributed the way I did, and Godspeed.
Liam, anything to add to that?
No, Dad covered most of the bases, but just from myself, just everyone for supporting Dad through what he went through, and just being there whenever we needed everyone to be there, and the club and friends, family of what we have here, So I just again thank you very much, and I'll be around. So yeah, I'll be around for one
flying
more
the
year.
flag, flying the Jordan flag.
Flying the Jordan flag for the last.
All right, guys.
Give me that ball.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Cool.